everyone. Today I'm with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, the junior U.S. Senator of New York State. I'm particularly excited today to talk about college date rape. She has been fighting for women and girls in a lot of different ways, including protection for sexual assault and harassment, pay equality, and protecting reproductive choice. So, Senator Gillibrand, thank you so much for joining me today. Could you explain to the audience the issue and your work raising awareness for date rape in college campuses?
Well, thank you, Bella, for inviting me, and I'm very excited to talk to your audience about these issues because I'm really passionate about them. One of the challenges we have on college campuses today is that there's far too much sexual violence. There's a lot of people who have been raped, assaulted, harassed on college campuses, and for a lot of them, when they report what happened to them, sometimes they're actually disbelieved, sometimes they're retaliated against, and the possibility of justice seems impossible. And so I've worked with a lot of colleagues on a bipartisan basis in the Senate to write a bipartisan bill to talk about how we can change how sexual assault is dealt with on college campus. The bill's called kaise, and it basically does four things. The first thing it does is it has a mandatory survey where every college campus, every college student on every campus will fill it out every 2 years about, do they feel safe? What's the climate like at their school? Have they ever been raped? Have they ever been assaulted? If so, did they report? If not, why didn't they report? And that will give a snapshot in time analysis of what's happening on their school campus and what it's like to go to school there. The second thing it'll do is it'll give these schools just information, data, because let's just say the survey says there was a lot of sexual assault, but only one person reported. That means they have a reporting problem. They don't have the type of climate where people feel comfortable reporting. So it's important information. The second thing the bill does is it changes the way these cases are dealt with. Now you might say, why do colleges deal with these cases at all? Why isn't it just going to law enforcement? Well, one of the reasons is if you had to wait for a case to be fully concluded with law enforcement, it could take a year, 2, 3 even. And if a school needs to get a predator off their college campus, they need a process. In the same way you'd be able to kick out somebody who cheats on a test, in the same way you'd be able to kick out somebody who doesn't pay their tuition. You need a process. And so what we want to do is professionalize that process a little bit and make sure that everyone who does those kinds of adjudications, those type of reviews, are fully trained in a certified way so that there's a real training. The third thing it does is make sure that there's somebody on campus who can be a confidential advisor, literally somebody who can tell the woman or man what's going to happen in their life and what their options are on the first day. So if you're raped, you might not know what to do. And the first thing that happens to sometimes rape survivors on a college campus is they'll quickly will do an online search to say, what do I do? Where do I go? They don't know. And so if there's this one person where you can go to and say, what's going to happen? What happens if I report? That advisor will be able to tell him or her, well, if you want to report someday, let's just say this same individual rapes in a second girl, or it happens again to someone else, you might want to then report, you should get your rape kit done today. Because if you want to keep that option open, either through criminal justice or even on college campus, you need to go through that process now. So just really important information that a lot of times the survivor might not know. And then the last thing it does is it makes sure we collaborate with law enforcement from the beginning. So that if you ever do want to go to law enforcement, there's somebody already identified by the college who's at the local police department who will deal with these cases and deal with them honestly and not belittle the survivor or disbelieve them in some way. And so those are the main components of the bill. I think they are meaningful. I think they can make a difference. And I think your viewers should definitely call their representatives and be heard on this issue because we need a system where justice is possible.
In your opinion, what is like the biggest obstacle? Is it mostly just like the survivors not feeling like comfortable enough to report, or is like the reporting system just kind of flawed?
Well, sometimes, in some schools, there's a different reporting process depending who the person you're accusing. So if it's a football player, for example, they are sometimes adjudicated by the athletic department. That's outrageous. Like, that they're not going to have your best interest, they're going to have their players' best interest in mind. So we want to make sure that the process is fair for everybody, that everybody goes through the same process. For some women, they've told me about how they did report and the person they reported to didn't believe them. And so you really need to have better understanding throughout the school and the community about that these are serious crimes and they need to be taken seriously and that they need to be fully investigated when reported.
So what can girls like me or anyone else with followers do to raise more awareness of this issue?
I think just speaking out and really maybe when you do get to college, and if you're at college, make sure that your campus has a process. And if it's a process that you don't think is working and you don't think they have the right resources for a survivor, really make a big deal about it and go to your student council and talk to the dean and really demand a different set of rules and a different way to handle these cases, and ask them, have you looked at this piece of legislation yet? And if you have, you should endorse it. And so we have the largest college system in New York and in the country. It's called the State University of New York system. It has over 500,000 students. They've endorsed this bill because they know that this kind of reform would make a huge difference if it was done at all schools. A lot of these things they've already implemented because they have their own challenges. Most schools have this challenge. And so I think it can make a huge difference in keeping our campuses safer, but also empowering survivors to be able to come forward, to have a system that is fair to them, and one that's fair on both sides. Like, because you want to make sure, you never want to tip the scales of justice in favor of the accused or the accuser. You just want it to be fair. You want justice to be blind. And right now, it's not set up that way. And for a lot of survivors, they're never believed and they're not taken seriously. And sometimes local law enforcement doesn't take it seriously either. And so we just need a commitment from our heads of school that this is important to them, to have a safe campus and to have a place where men and women can go if they are assaulted.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you. What you said was really interesting, and definitely want to check out this legislative. So again, everybody, I'm here with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. Thank you for watching.
Well, thank you, Bella. Thanks for covering such a good issue.
Yeah.
Thank you.